Ladies and gentlemen, new technologies also pose new challenges. Remote-controlled robot technology, toy bombs, disabling small arms which do not kill but injure, laser technology, and drones all cause unimaginable suffering and collateral damage, bringing with it a host of challenges of maimed soldiers dependent on their women, of innocent civilians losing their all, of women left without shelter and without their bread earners. Ladies and gentlemen, when access to arms is easy and structural causes of a conflict prevail, regrettably, preventive measures do not have a fair chance of success. Sri Lanka amply demonstrated this, where negotiations were held 21 times in 29 years of conflict and broke down each time. But, ladies and gentlemen, one must not lose hope. For there are many in the governments and in civil society who have commitment to broker peace. In the pre-conflict situation, the civil society organizations can be active at the state level to influence government policy. They can be influential at the grassroots and in the wide spectrum of society in between. Brainstorming within and among think tanks can help in creating and recommending confidence-building measures between states. CSOs can influence government policy on arms control, both in the arms-producing countries and in the arms-receiving countries. CSOs can influence states to make space for greater participation of women in decision-making at all levels of political and administrative structures. There is a good example of a media group of India and Pakistan who are trying to create an environment conducive for long-term peace called Aman Ki Asha, Love for Peace. At the grassroots, civil society organizations are ideally placed to create awareness, develop public opinion, and channelize the energies of the people towards constructive activities. An important role can be played by them, ladies and gentlemen, where ideological conflicts exist and where extremism has taken hold. They can help to de-radicalize youth who have been indoctrinated since childhood and motivated to do and die without thinking of both the causes and of the consequences of their actions. They can help to promote interfaith harmony and intrafaith harmony. They can be pivotal in intervention, mediation, negotiations between rival groups, provided they are perceived to be objective and apolitical. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the challenges that CSOs will face or do face are multidimensional. Since most times they will have a lack of mandate and lack of governmental support, little or no leverage, and a small circle of influence, there will be mistrust and there will be reluctance to depend on CSOs by the government. CSOs will also be perceived to have certain affiliations with an ideology, a country, a religion, and an agenda of their own, and therefore will be perceived to lack objectivity. Ladies and gentlemen, the only successful preventive action in South Asia recently was in the Maldives, when a political crisis was averted into becoming an armed conflict. But this crisis was averted with international mediation and no role of civil society per se. All other conflicts in South Asia, interstate or intrastate, in Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, are being dealt with in a combination of negotiations and military actions with marginal inputs from formal CSOs. Madam Chair, civil society organizations have been much more effective in South Asia during conflicts and in the post-conflict phase, especially in addressing issues related to women. There are some excellent examples from Afghanistan of civil society organizations and NGOs who have worked successfully in mitigating the sufferings emanating from the conflict, and in Sri Lanka, who have done the same kind of work. We need to look, ladies and gentlemen, also what has been the role of women in South Asia as agents of change. The role of women in South Asia has been somewhat paradoxical as agents of change. We have had the world's first woman Prime Minister from here in Sri Lanka, Madam Seema Baloch, and we have had leaders like Chandrika Kumaratunga, Benazir Bhutto, Indira Gandhi, Khaleda Zia, Sheikh Hasina, which is indeed a long and glorious list, something we should be proud of. But whether these women leaders could contribute in preventing or mitigating armed conflicts within their countries or across borders is a matter of debate. The primary reason, to my mind, which perhaps the men in this room may defer to, that their influence in decision-making would have been limited in a male-dominated political environment and in male-dominated military and intelligence hierarchies, and in a culture which favors men over women. It is only now, ladies and gentlemen, in the last few years that we actually see women in important decision-making positions. The Foreign Minister of Pakistan and of Bangladesh are women. The speakers of the National Assembly in Pakistan and of India are women. Till recently, the Foreign Secretary of India was an accomplished woman. South Asia, however, can learn from the women of Africa, whose roles as mothers, wives, and aunts were used effectively in peace building and conflict resolution in the old Africa. They participated in promoting the culture of peace in their children and in the practice of conflict mediation among warring factions within the family and in the community.